Welcome all. My name is Juniper. I'm the managing producer for Feldenkrais Access, and we can go ahead and get started. We're right on the hour. Welcome everyone. So good to be here with you all for the first lesson in improving the freedom of your arms with Raz Ori. Such a pleasure and a privilege for me. We are also joined today by Nadia Genois, who is a Feldenkrais practitioner joining us from Montreal. Nadia is here to assist if you need any help as you move through the lesson, if you have any questions or confusion or difficulty, if you have any challenges that you need help navigating. Nadia is a wonderful resource, and we're lucky to have her here with us to help. So please do write in to whichever platform you're joining from. If you're in Zoom, you can write a message there. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can write into the comment section. And even if you're doing the lesson recorded, you can write into the website, the Feldenkrais Access website, into the comment section there, and we'll be able to assist you. And we are also joined today by Kim Greenberg, who is a Feldenkrais practitioner joining us from Nashville, Tennessee. And Kim will be doing the lesson in a seated position. If you need to do the lesson in a chair, you can see how Kim's engaging with the instructions. I will be spotlighting her periodically throughout the course of the lesson. And if you need to see her more often, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'll be alternating between showing Kim and our team of Feldenkrais practitioners who are doing the lesson as instructed along with you. And they're also in the process of learning as they move through the lesson. So no need to model them or do as they are doing. But if you experience some confusion, sometimes seeing what they're doing can be helpful. If you're in Zoom and you have your camera turned on, if you can position it in such a way that your whole self is in view, that's super helpful. And then if you don't wish to be seen, please do turn your camera off by using the option in the Zoom menu, just clicking on the video camera icon to turn your camera off, rather than facing your camera away from yourself or something like that. And that's it from me. I'll hand you over to Raz.
Thank you, Juniper. Welcome, everyone. So happy and excited to be here with everyone and to be able to share these wonderful and unique Feldenkrais lessons for improving the mobility and freedom of your arms and shoulders. And really what's wonderful about it is that we're actually going to trace and use the uniqueness of how the human body is shaped, formed, and how it functions. And the beautiful thing about the freedom of our arms is how the freedom of our arms is connected to the uprightness of our trunk. And that, in fact, for improving the freedom and the mobility of our arms and shoulders, we need to look at the functional relationships to our trunk, to our spine, to our pelvis. And we see that it's a very unique form of connectivity and functionality, and we're actually going to expose and trace and work with these unique human characteristics of our body during these Feldenkrais lessons. If you're new to the method, one principal idea that we're going to repeatedly use is the idea that when we move one part, we're actually looking for movement throughout our entire self, so that no one part, no one joint works in isolation, but rather we try to use the entire kinetic system, the entire movement system of our body with every movement that we do. And that helps to minimize muscular effort. It helps to minimize wear and tear on one particular joint, and it would help you to gain a more harmonious, a more fluid sensation throughout your entire self as you move yourself throughout these lessons. Before we start, the setup for the lesson is going to be such that you're going to lie on your side, but with probably some head support for your head. So don't lie on your side yet, because I will still show you something on the screen, but just so that in the meantime you can organize your setup for lying on the side with some support underneath your head if you need that support. And you can see on our video volunteers the specific arm position from which we will start. So if we're going to be lying on our right side, the left hand is going to be positioned on the floor in front of us with the right arm a little bit downwards, so the left hand has that floor space in front of our shoulder and in front of our face. Before you're going to lie down, I want to just show you one simple image of how our body is built that would help elucidate this idea of how our arm and our trunk are connected, work in synergy, and influence each other, meaning that for gaining freedom in the arm and the shoulders, you also need to gain freedom in your pelvis, in your spine, and in your chest. And what we see here, or the point that I want to illustrate, and it's a very simplistic point, of course, but the largest muscle of our back, a muscle that originates from the pelvis, from the sacrum, from the spine, goes through most of the length of our back and actually attaches to the arm itself. And I'll just turn it around so you can see for a moment. You see here it goes all the way from the back to the chest and attaches on this part of the arm. And it's a beautiful image to see and to show how really the arm is directly, not indirectly, but directly connected to our back all the way down to our pelvis, which means that the position of the pelvis is actually going to influence the mobility of the arm. Tension in the arm is going to influence tension in the lower back. Rigidity in the lower back will influence the mobility of the arm and the shoulders. Rigidity in the arms and the shoulders will influence your pelvis, your lower back, your abdomen, and so forth. So before you lie down, I want you to come up to standing for a moment in such a way that you can keep looking at the screen just for a sec, and see if you can stand for a moment with your eyes closed, with your arms down by your side, and can you, in your mind's eye, try to see this long, wide sheet of muscle originating all the way down from your pelvis, covering most of your back, your rib cage, connecting to your arm. And open your eyes again whenever you need to get a glimpse of the image still showing on the screen. And of course, you have it on both sides, this beautiful muscle covering the back from both sides. And then close your eyes again and just try to see if you can imagine in your mind's eye, see in your mind's eye, this beautiful sheet of muscle connecting from the bottom all the way up to the top, all the way up to your arms. You can peek again at the screen if you like, just to see if you can try to embody the image of this long, beautiful muscle and the direct connectivity from your arms to your pelvis. And now, as you stand there, try to move your arms, both arms, just a little bit away from you in a small diagonal forward. So not like the image that we saw that the arm was out to the side, but out to the side and just a little bit forward. And then let your arms hang down by your sides again. Good. And do that a few times. Make sure that you're distancing your arms away from you just the amount that you feel that is very easy, that doesn't create tension or stress in your shoulders, arms, or your neck. So just find the easy range for doing this simple motion. See if you can still imagine that long, wide sheet of muscle as if it's expanding, as if that sheet of muscle expands a little bit with the expansion of your arms. so that your back expands a little bit with the expansion of your arms. Good, and you might feel that there's a difference between one arm and the other, that maybe one arm is easier, lighter to distance away, maybe one side of your back, you feel it more expanding and the other side not as much. Excellent. Good. And come lie on your back. Again, if you need some padding for your head when you're on your back and perhaps when you're on your side, have some padding beside you, not too big of a support for your head. And just rest on your back for a moment. You can have your legs long or your feet standing. Make sure that your arms are in a comfortable position. You can distance them a little bit away from your sides so they just lie comfortably on the floor. Good. And notice again if you can imagine this connection between the base of your pelvis that is lying on the floor through your lower back, through the middle of your back, expanding outwards through your rib cage, and climbing up, fanning upwards and to the sides, all the way to your arms. And just to see if you have in your sensation, in your mind's eye, in your kinesthetic perception, some of this idea of the connectivity from the base of your pelvis through your back to your arms. And again, it might be very interesting to note that sometimes there's more clarity on one side, not as much on the other. That it's easier to feel the connection throughout the spine towards the arm on one side than the other. Good. And now slowly start sliding one arm a little bit away from your side, as if you were going to slide it towards shoulder height. But you can do a quarter of the way towards shoulder height. So you want to slide the arm on the floor away from your side just as much as it's easy for you to slide the arm. And then when you bring that arm back down by your side, slide the other arm in a similar way, a little bit away from you, towards shoulder height. And then again, as you bring one arm down, see if at the same time, if you can synchronize the sliding of the other arm a little bit away from you. And you choose how much do you slide. And slide the arm just as much as it's easy for you without straining the muscles of your arms or your shoulders. Good. And just notice if there is some connection between sliding one arm down and one arm up. Does it feel like to you like you're doing two separate movements? Or is there a way to somehow synchronize and to feel not just in the timing, but actually in your back, in your shoulders, in your chest, in your ribs, maybe even all the way down to your pelvis, that, oh, they're somehow connected. Sliding one arm away as you slide the other arm down is actually somehow connected through your back, through your spine. Good. Excellent. And come lie on your right side. If you need a little bit of padding for your head, to support your head, make sure that it's not too big of a cushion. And have your knees bent at 90 degrees, so your knees are in front of your hips. Organize your right arm just a tiny bit downwards so that you can easily place your left hand on the floor somewhere in front of your right shoulder, in front of your face. Excellent. And from this position, allow your left elbow to come downwards towards your chest. So you just let your arm relax. Your hand is still touching the floor, but just let your arm relax so that your right elbow sinks towards your chest. And then bring your left elbow. It's the left elbow. My apologies. Your left elbow of the standing arm, let it sink towards your chest. And then bring your left elbow back up. Bring your left elbow away from your chest so that your left arm is standing. And just do that a few times. Let your left elbow sink so you're not activating the arm to stand at 90 degrees. And then lift your left elbow, move it a little bit away from your chest so that the arm comes standing. Excellent. Good. Now, every time you bring your arm, your elbow to standing, turn your hand so that your fingers will point towards you. And every time you bring your left elbow down towards your chest, slide your hand and turn your hand so that your fingers will point away from you. So that as you move your elbow towards and away, you pivot on the palm of your hand to point with your fingers towards you, towards your face. You're pointing at your face when you bring your left elbow forward, and then you point away from your face when you let your left elbow down. Excellent. Good. And now, as you bring your left elbow forward each time, can you allow yourself to roll a little bit forward so that it's not a movement just of your elbow and your shoulder, but actually your shoulder, bring it a little bit forward and even roll your head a little bit forward as if you want to turn your nose a little bit towards the floor. And then you return onto your side as you bring your elbow down. Good. And just do that a few times. You bring your elbow forward, turn your fingers towards you, and allow your whole self to roll a little bit forward. Excellent. And even let your left hip come a little bit forward as you do so. So that as your elbow comes forward and as you turn your hand, roll your pelvis a tiny bit forward so that your left knee will slide a tiny bit over your right knee, a tiny bit forward on your right knee. Mhm. It's almost like you're letting the weight of your arm that comes to stand, almost like you let that weight of the arm to pull you a little bit into this rolling forward motion. Excellent. And then stay there. Stay with your arm standing, with your fingers pointing towards you, and just keep rolling yourself a little bit forward and onto the side. Back and forth. Keep the arm standing, the left elbow remains standing, your fingers pointing towards you, and just roll yourself a little bit forward and return. And make sure that your hand position is such that it's really comfortable for you, that there's no strain or effort in your arm and in your shoulder. And as you roll a little bit forward, even think of your eyes looking downwards towards the floor. And think of your hip coming a little bit forward. Think of your elbow and your knee coming a little bit forward as the hand remains standing. Excellent. Good. Now stay in this rolled forward position. Remain in the rolled forward position with your nose a little bit towards the floor, your knee a little bit forward. And now just take your shoulder a little bit back. Don't roll back. Don't roll your head. Don't roll your pelvis. Just your shoulder. Can you move your elbow with your shoulder a little bit backwards, but still not rolling to the left, not rolling backwards? So you remain in this rolled forward position and just take the shoulder a tiny bit back and then a tiny bit forward. And see if you can feel your whole shoulder moving a little bit in relationship to your neck, in relationship to your upper back, in relationship to your chest and ribs. That's right. And now as you take your shoulder back, take everything backwards a little bit with your head, with your chest, with your pelvis. Roll everything a little bit back onto your side and forward again. Excellent. Everything back and forward a few times. Good. And then remain in that rolled forward position once more. And this time, take just your left hip backwards so that you shorten your left knee a little bit. Your elbow is still forward, your shoulder is forward, your nose towards the floor. You are in this rolled forward position, but just try to take your left hip back as if you're beginning to roll backwards, but only from your pelvis. That's right. Good. And now do this funny thing. Every time you bring your hip forward again, take your shoulder back. And then bring your shoulder forward, but take your hip back. And then again, as you bring your shoulder, your hip forward, take your shoulder a little bit back. As you bring your shoulder forward, take your hip back. That's right. So that you move your hip and your shoulder a little bit in opposite directions. One comes forward, the other goes back, and vice versa. Excellent. And now roll everything together, forward and return. Allow everything to move harmoniously together, your head with your shoulder, with your chest, with your hip, your knee and your elbow come forward together. Excellent. Good. And roll onto your back and rest for a moment on your back. And just take a moment to bring into your mind's eye again the image of this long muscle that runs all the way from the base of your pelvis, covering your lower back, covering the left side of your rib cage, covering part of your shoulder blade, and connects all the way up to your left arm. And just notice if throughout your left side, thinking of this muscle and this direction of connectivity through the back to your arm is it different than thinking about it on the right side? There's something in how you perceive your back to your arm slightly different on the left side with which we were working. Good. And now come lie on your left side. And organize your knees at 90 degrees. Place some padding for your head if you need, Organize your left arm a little bit downwards so that your right hand can find an easy place to stand somewhere in front of your left shoulder, in front of your face. And start with the simple movement of your elbow coming away from your chest so that your arm assumes this standing position. And then just allow your elbow to sink downwards towards your chest so it's not standing actively in this position. So just your right elbow coming away from your chest to be more in front of your shoulder, and then lower your elbow down towards your ribs, towards your pelvis. And as you bring your right elbow forward, turn your hand so that your fingers point towards you. Point towards your face as you bring your elbow forward. And then as you allow your elbow to sink back down towards your chest, point away with your fingers, away from your face. Turn your hand to really point forward towards the wall in front of you. That's right. So with the palm of your hand, you're really pivoting and sliding your fingers to turn and point once towards your face when you bring your elbow forward, and once away from your face when you allow your elbow to sink down towards your chest. And each time you bring your elbow forward to this standing position with your fingers pointing towards you, see if you can allow your shoulder to come forward as well. And when your shoulder comes forward, allow your neck and your head to roll a little bit forward. That's right. And think of this long muscle from your arm all the way down to your back as if it's fanning, opening out, and it's bringing your entire back with your pelvis a little bit forward so that through the connectivity of your arm to your back follows the movement of your arm. That's right, until you can even feel your right hip coming a little bit forward. And of course, every time you lower your elbow down towards your chest, you roll onto your side again, and then bringing your elbow forward, turning your fingers, allow your entire body to roll a little bit forward. That's right. So that there is this beautiful line of connectivity between your elbow to your hip, between your arm all the way down to your lower back, so that you can initiate the movement from bringing your elbow forward, but then everything follows. Your shoulder, your chest, your spine, your pelvis, your hip. That's right. Good. And allow your eyes to turn to the left as you're turning, as if you're going to look down towards the floor. Beautiful. And then stay in the rolled forward position. Stay there with your elbow standing and just keep rolling yourself onto your side again and a little bit forward. But the elbow remains in the standing position. Your elbow remains straight in front of your shoulder. And of course, reposition your hand so that it's comfortable for you in your wrist, so that there's no excessive tension in the arm or the shoulder. And keep feeling the connection of your shoulder to your hip so that you roll your pelvis with your trunk, with your head forward and back. Back onto the side. Not backwards, but just returning onto the side. Forward and returning onto the side. Excellent. And then stay in the rolled forward position. Remain rolled forward a little bit and just take your shoulder back without rolling your head. without rolling your chest, without rolling your pelvis, just the shoulder. See if you can make the shoulder move and slide over the rib cage towards your upper back, towards the other shoulder. Of course, using your arm and your elbow, but purposefully not rolling anything, but sliding your shoulder over the rib cage. That's right. Good. And then take everything together again. As you take your shoulder back, take your hip back, your knee slides a little bit backwards, and then bring everything forward again. That's right. Good. So you're not separating, but rather connecting all the dots together, connecting all the parts into one motion. Good. And then stay forward again. And this time, take just your right hip a little bit backwards. Just your hip, not your head, not your shoulder, not your elbow, just your hip. Just your hip back and forth. Of course, your right knee will slide a little bit back and forth, but see if you can keep your elbow, shoulder, head turned forward so that there's a slight separation between the hip and the shoulder. That's right. And then see if you can do this funny thing as you bring your hip forward again, take your shoulder back. And then as you bring your shoulder forward, take your hip back. And then again, the hip forward, take the shoulder back. The shoulder forward, take your hip back. And use your head, roll your head with your shoulder. So your head rolls with your shoulder, but in opposition to your hip. So your hip moves back and the shoulder is forward. You bring your hip forward, take your shoulder and roll your head a little bit back. Just a little bit. Good. To now reconnect everything together, to roll everything together forward and backwards. Go back to that universal or global pattern of taking everything together forward and back. Your elbow with your shoulder, rolling your head, bringing your knee forward. Excellent. Good. And come lie on your back and rest again for a moment on your back. And just feel again as you lie on your back, the feeling of the connectivity from the base of your pelvis up through your lower back, up through the lower ribs, and the middle of the back, all the way up through your shoulder to your right arm. If you imagine again, try to see in your mind's eye this long white sheet of muscle. And again, how is it compared to the sensation on the left side of the back? Maybe you can even hold the image of both sides. And you might need a slightly different position for the arms, maybe with the arms a little bit closer to your sides or a little bit away from your sides. You'll be able to recreate this image, this sensation of the connectivity and the wideness of the back, stretching upwards and outwards towards your arms. Excellent. And come lie on your right side again. with both knees at 90 degrees, your left arm a little bit downwards towards your knees so that you can easily place your left hand standing in front of you. And let your elbow sink again towards your chest. And bring your elbow, your left elbow forward to standing again. And as you bring your elbow to standing, turn your hand, point towards yourself, and allow everything to roll a little bit forwards. That's right. And then as you bring your elbow down towards your chest, slide with your fingers to point forward and let your whole body roll onto the side and even a little bit backwards. What happens if you keep rolling a little bit to the left when you bring your left elbow towards your chest? And then again, bring your left elbow forward to standing, pointing towards yourself. Allow everything to come forward as if the movement of the elbow is pulling, inviting and pulling everything forward as the elbow comes down towards your chest. With your fingers pointing forward, allow your entire self to roll back and see what happens if you keep rolling backwards a little bit. If you keep taking your hip a little bit to the left and back and your shoulder a little bit back. And you'll notice, and you just keep doing that movement once rolling forward, standing the arm, pointing towards yourself, and gradually returning onto the side and rolling a little bit backwards. And you'll see an interesting thing that at some point your left hand is very light on the floor because of how your weight rolls to the left, rolls backwards. So then let your hand slide from the floor towards your right shoulder so that you can actually touch your right shoulder as you roll a little bit back. And then you return onto the side, slide your hand, reposition your hand, bring your elbow forward, roll forward, turn the hand with your fingers pointing towards you. That's right. And then as you roll onto the side and a little bit backwards, you reverse everything. The fingers point forward and let your hand slide towards your shoulder. Allow your left knee to lift a little bit. Organize your left foot so that you can feel that the more you turn, the left knee starts to rise up towards the ceiling, almost like you're going to bring your left leg to standing. Not quite, but in that direction. That's right. And once you're touching your right shoulder, see if you can keep moving your elbow back to slide your hand across your chest towards your left shoulder so that you can slide your hand from the right shoulder to your left shoulder. That's right. And then you slide your hand from your left shoulder to your right, reposition it on the floor, reorganize the elbow for standing, everything rolls forward again. Good. So again, this simple idea that wherever the arm goes, everything follows the arm. You use your pelvis and your entire spine to accommodate the movement of the arm in space. Good. Now, a good point to notice is make sure that the padding behind your head doesn't restrict your movement, rolling forward or rolling back. And you might need to move it a little bit so that you don't fight the pad so that it accommodates the movement and doesn't make it more difficult. Good. And then as your elbow goes back, instead of letting your elbow completely go back down towards the floor, raise your left hand towards the ceiling. So as you turn to the left, your hand starts by sliding your elbow towards the ceiling and then lift your hand towards the ceiling, straighten your arm forward towards the ceiling when you're in this half turned position. Excellent. And then slowly lower your hand back down towards your chest, slide it forward to your right shoulder, bring it again into the standing position. And from the standing position, roll to the left to gradually disconnect the hand from the floor, sliding it to lift the arm forward towards the ceiling. Good. And next time you have your arm in this position towards the ceiling, stay there. Reorganize your legs, reposition your left foot so that it's comfortable for you to stay in this. You're no longer on your side, but you're not fully on your back. You're in a transitional position. And from here, just elongate your left arm forward towards the ceiling. Just to the arm a little bit. Just the arm a little bit forward towards the ceiling so that you can feel your whole shoulder again moving in relationship to your trunk. So don't roll your pelvis, don't roll your chest, don't roll your head, just the shoulder. A little bit forward towards the ceiling as if something is elongating your arm forward towards the ceiling, and then let your shoulder sink backwards towards the floor behind you. That's right, just a little bit. Notice if you can feel the movement of the shoulder relative to the chest, relative to your back, relative to your ribs. Good, and every time you lift your shoulder, roll your head a tiny bit to the right. Every time your shoulder sinks back, roll your head a tiny bit to the left. So that you accompany the movement of your shoulder a little bit with the turning of your head. That's right. Good. Now do the opposite. When you bring your shoulder forward, turn your head a little bit to the left, as if you're going to look over the left shoulder, or as if you want to see your own left shoulder coming forward. And every time your shoulder sinks back, roll your head a little bit to the right, so that your shoulder and head move in opposing directions, or towards each other and away from each other. Excellent. Good. And now let your hand sink down towards your right shoulder. Bring your arm again into the standing position in front of you. Roll yourself forward and just do that full transition 2 or 3 times between rolling forward with your arm standing to rolling backwards, lifting your hand towards the ceiling. Excellent. And again, just feel the connectivity of the arm to your spine, to your chest, to your pelvis. So wherever your arm moves, you accompany the movement of the arm. And that's the secret for getting your arms to be light and free, that they don't work in isolation by themselves, that your whole back is backing up the activity of your arms and shoulders. Beautiful. And rest on your back for a moment. Notice the weight of your left arm on the floor. Notice the weight of your left shoulder, the left side of your chest, left side of your lower back. And again, if in your sensation, if in your mind's eye, gradually you're able to form a fuller image, a fuller sensation of the connectivity from your pelvis up your spine, into your shoulder, into your arm, as opposed to segmented or separated parts. Good. And come lie on your left side. With your knees again at 90 degrees. Support your head however you need. with your right hand on the floor in front of you in a comfortable position. And slowly bring your right elbow forward to the standing position, turning your fingers towards yourself and allowing everything to follow the movement of your elbow. The weight of your head rolling forward, your shoulder coming forward, your hip coming forward. And as you return onto your side, allow your elbow to come down towards your chest. Allow your fingers to turn forward until you can feel that every time you return onto your side, you can also roll a little bit to the right. You can also roll a little bit back. And when you roll a little bit back, not only do you no longer stand on your hand, but actually your hand is free to slide on the floor towards your left shoulder. And then you return onto your side, roll forward again, reposition your hand for the standing position with your fingers pointing towards you, and then reverse again. Roll backwards to make your hand very light until you can feel that, oh, the turning of your pelvis, the turning of your whole weight, it actually moves your elbow in space. It brings your elbow towards the ceiling. And from there, what would it take to lift the hand towards the ceiling? So it would almost be like your hand comes forward towards the ceiling. You elongate your arm forward towards the ceiling as an extension of this little bit of rolling backwards. Or almost like it's this mechanism of opening the arm that starts from turning the pelvis. That's right. And then organize your right foot so you can easily lift your right knee to whatever degree that you need to make it comfortable for you to turn your back to the right, to make it comfortable for you to look towards the ceiling, to see your own hand in front of you towards the ceiling. So you want your right knee to be free to move and to accompany the movement so that it's easy to turn the hip back and forth. Excellent. And then stay there. Stay with your arm forward towards the ceiling. Organize your legs however is comfortable for you, but just make sure you're not fully on your back. So you're still in this transitional point. And from here, just elongate your arm a little bit forward so that your whole shoulder would lift a little bit away from the floor, and then let the weight of your shoulders sink backwards towards the floor. That's right. Your head remains forward towards the ceiling. Your pelvis is quiet in this half-turned position. And just see if you can move your shoulder to get it to slide in relationship to your back, in relationship to your ribs, forward and then backwards. Forward towards the ceiling, backwards towards the floor. That's right. And make it a little easier by rolling your head a little bit to the left as you lift your shoulder, a little bit to the right as your shoulder sinks back. So that you accompany the movement, this rising and lowering of your shoulder with rolling your head. Good. And then switch the order so that when you bring your shoulder forward, actually look a little bit to the right. Turn your head a little bit to the right as if you want to see your own shoulder coming forward. As you let your shoulder sink back, roll your head a little bit to the left. So it's almost like your head and shoulder, your face and shoulder, they come towards each other and away from each other. Excellent. Good. And then bring your hand back down towards your chest, towards your left shoulder. Roll onto your side again. Bring your elbow to standing with your fingers pointing towards you. And do that whole transition Again, a few times. Backwards with your hand up towards the ceiling, forward with your hand standing in front of you. Do that whole transition. Good, and just feel again how the clarity of rolling your trunk, the clarity of using your body weight, rolling your pelvis, rolling your back, makes it so that your arm becomes very light, very free, almost like it's an extension of your back. That's right. So your arm is never alone or never doing anything in isolation, but rather your whole self is supporting and backing up your arm in its movement, in its direction, in lowering and lifting, in closing and opening. Excellent. Good. And lie on your back again and rest for a moment. Good. So that is the secret to helping ourselves feel more mobility, more freedom in the arms and the shoulders, is actually by finding how do we back them up and how do we use our back to back them up. Good. So then the arms do not work in isolation and do not carry all the load, but they work in concert and synergy with our entire musculoskeletal system so that the effort and the burden is supported from our center, from our pelvis and our spine. Excellent. Come lie on your right side again. With your knees bent, your left arm a little bit downwards. And this time start from rolling to the left. Start from rolling to the left and sliding your left hand from your right shoulder to your left shoulder. And then see if you can actually, instead of lifting your arm forward towards the ceiling, see if you can keep sliding with your elbow, with your forearm on the left side of your chest. So there's no need to lift your elbow, but keep your elbow close to your chest and then of course return onto your side. And every time you roll to the left, keep your forearm, your arm, your elbow close to your chest until you can slide your elbow and your forearm from the left side of your chest down to the floor behind you, so that you can position your left arm to your side on the floor to your left. And again, make sure that you're not fully turned on your back. You're towards lying on your back, but not fully turned. And see if you can place your left hand on the floor behind you so that every time you turn, you're able to reposition your hand from being in front of you to being completely behind you. Your hand, forearm, elbow, arm on the floor to the left of your trunk behind you. That's right. And then slide them back and return onto the side. Bring your hand forward. And then again, slowly to turn to the left, finding the easiest path for sliding your hand, sliding your forearm across your chest to find how to place everything on the floor to your left. And you can lift your left knee a little bit. You can play with the position of your feet. So again, your hip, you use your hip and your pelvis to turn and to return. Excellent. And then see if you can keep your arm and your hand behind you as you return onto your side. So roll onto your side again, bring your shoulder forward, but keep your arm behind your back. That's right. And then slowly roll to the left again. Let the weight of your elbow sink backwards towards the floor. Let your hip move back, raise your left knee a little bit, find a position for your arm on the floor. And then as you roll, as you return onto the right side, how do you organize your arm to turn and fold so that your arm comes with you, but it stays behind you? It doesn't remain on the floor. It needs to come with you as you return onto your side, but it remains behind your back. That's right. And just do that simple transition. Rolling to the left, rolling, returning onto your side, bringing your shoulder forward when you return onto your side, but your arm will slide behind you, your hand will slide behind you, your elbow will bend a little bit. That's right, to bring the back of your hand to touch the back of your pelvis. Excellent. And now every time you roll to the left, start rolling to the left by elongating your left arm. So you're on your right side, your left arm is behind you. Start rolling to the left by gently sliding your left hand downwards, as if you want to make your arm longer in the downwards direction, and that will take your shoulder and your head to turn to the left. Beautiful. Next time that you're turned to the left, simply roll onto your back and rest on your back. Good, and come lie on your left side. With your knees at 90 degrees and your hand in front of you, but you're going to roll to the right. So you gently start turning to the right, bringing your right hip backwards, your right shoulder back, rolling your head, sliding with your right hand from the left shoulder towards your chest. Keep your forearm, your elbow, keep everything close to your chest so that you can find the simplest way to slide your arm to place it on the floor behind you, to your side. First, it might be first the elbow. The elbow would contact the floor first, but then also keep sliding your hand so you can place your hand on the floor. And then bring your hand back to your chest. Return onto the left side. Find the easiest path to bring your elbow with you, and you're on your side again. That's right. And then again, find the simplest way to turn to the right, roll to the right, sliding with your arm gently across your chest, finding how to contact the floor to your right, first with your elbow, then with your hand, to position your arm to your side, close to your side behind you, not out at shoulder height, but downwards along, so your arm is parallel to your spine, more or less. That's right. And then when you return onto your side, keep your arm behind you. So you keep doing the rolling to the right and onto your side, but now your arm stays behind you all the time. Good, but as you return onto your side, your arm needs to somehow roll and slide And your elbow bends. Good. So your arm still works in synergy with your back, still connected, but just in a different composition, in a different constellation. Good. Now, when you're on your side and you want to start rolling to the right, see if you can start the movement by elongating your arm, as if you want to reach downwards with your right hand that's behind your back, as if you want to move your right hand away from your head downwards. So that would initiate the movement of your shoulder, and it would get your whole spine to twist and your body to turn. That's right. Excellent. And next time that you're on your back, remain on your back and rest for a moment. Good. And bring both feet standing on the floor. Bend your knees. Have both feet standing. Good. And gently tilt your knees once to the right. Both knees, let them sink to the right slowly. And then bring them back up. They don't need to go all the way to the right. It's just so that you can start feeling the movement of your pelvis and the movement of your back. And then sink your knees a little bit to the left. That's right. Good. And do that alternating movement of your knees from one side to the other, gently. Excellent. And allow your head to roll with your knees so that your nose turns, your eyes turn a little bit to the right as you tilt your knees to the right, a little bit to the left as you tilt your knees to the left. Excellent. And now the arm towards which you're turning, if you're turning to the right, it's the right arm. Slide your right arm as you're turning to the right. Slide your right arm away from the side of your body. And let your left arm slide towards your body. And then switch. When you come back to the middle, slide your left hand away. Tilt your knees to the left. Keep sliding your left hand away. And slide your right hand towards your body. That's right. So that you slide your arms, one away from your body and one towards, but in such a timing that your arm never moves alone, but rather it moves with the turning of your hips and the turning of your head from the motion of your knees until you can somehow gradually organize it so that you feel that, oh, right, my arms are always somehow an extension of what I'm doing in my trunk. Or the other way around, that my arms never move alone, that I'm always following my arms with my pelvis and hips, with my chest and my head. That's right. And you might even find yourself sliding your arm all the way out to shoulder height and maybe even beyond, over shoulder height. As long as you don't strain or stress the muscles of the arm and the shoulder, and you just look for how to get the arm to extend as a continuation of the movement of your trunk. Never trying to strain or effort the arm on its own. Always having your back and your hips and your pelvis to back up your arm. Good. And you might find yourself rolling as far as bringing your hand to touch the back of your pelvis again, as you were doing when you were on your side. You might find yourself bringing the other arm over your head. And you can even look upwards towards that hand that's sliding up. Excellent. Good. And rest on your back. Stretch out your legs. Position your arms in a comfortable distance to the sides of yourself. And just feel again that line of connectivity between the back of your pelvis, the base of your spine, throughout your lower back, up from your lower ribs through your chest, fanning upwards and outwards to connect to your arms. Excellent. And slowly roll through one side and come up to seated position. And from there, take your time to slowly come up to standing. And when you reach the standing position, take a moment in standing just to feel your feet in contact with the floor, the lines of support throughout the bones of your legs, upwards towards your hips, the position of your pelvis over your hip joints. From the base of your pelvis, can you imagine again these long, wide sheets of muscle that climb up your back and out to the sides, covering the back part of your chest, even a little bit the sides of your chest, all the way connecting all the way up to your arms. And if you try again to gently move your arms a little bit away from you in a small diagonal forward, so it's not out to the sides, but a tiny bit out to the sides, but a little bit forward, just as much as it's easy to move your arms without feeling heaviness or strain or pressure in your arms and your shoulders, but just trying to create that image of expansion of your back. So again, your arms are not lifting themselves by themselves. You're backing them up, supporting them with your entire spine, with your entire self, and try to move your arms just as much as is easy for you to do, and that you can feel the expansion in the back, that your back is somehow expanding. Not just the distance of your arms to your trunk is expanding, but your back is expanding. Almost like that big, wide muscle is opening out, fanning outwards and upwards. Excellent. Good. And walk around the room, take a few steps. Notice how you feel your arms hanging down by your sides, the sensation in your back when you walk, even your balance and stability, that in fact your arms play a vital role in your equilibrium, balance, and stability. Excellent. Great. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next class.